All right, good evening. Jim Howard with Trinity Security Allies. I have my faithful intelligence officer, Jessica Howard, over in Daytona, helping us out with this tonight. She is the one that goes out and is now looking at our Google reviews, our Google alerts. And she brought me up one this week that I wanted to bring out. Of course, this happened on Easter weekend. So things do happen, and you probably have not heard about this. But a man is charged in Easter fracas at Newcastle Church in Newcastle, Indiana. Authorities said a stranger who showed up at the Newcastle Church on Easter morning injured a sheriff deputy while resisting arrest. The subject was charged Monday with battery, resisting, and bodily injury to a law enforcement officer. But how it started was that deputies were called to Church of God at 3800 South Memorial Drive, where a caller reported an unknown man in a military style clothing left a large backpack inside the church and then left the building. When they approached the stranger, he used profanity, told the deputy to get away from him, and then there was a fight. In the struggle, the suspect punched the deputy in the face and bit his forearm, and then he was arrested. The backpack was found in the church, was determined to contain clothing, food, and a large knife. So even though we didn't see a lot of things happening on Easter, there were still things that were going on out there that we need to be paying attention to. This is just something that came up, and we wanted to share that with everybody. Now, we're going to get to the reason why I felt like that this is really important tonight is because you know that when we do the training, we talk about using your camera all the time. We talk about it. I stress it. I stress it. I stress it. There have been multiple situations of where people have called me on the phone and said, "You will never believe what just happened." And when I ask them if they have video, they tell me they don't. So I like I said, I have stressed this over and over and over again to tell you that we really need to have video. Now I'm gonna stop to share for a sec because I want to do one thing so that you hear some of the stuff that is going on in the presentation. So hang on just 1 second. I'm gonna stop the share. I'm gonna go back and do it again and make sure that you can hear the sound. I'm gonna turn on the computer and we're gonna go back to the PowerPoint. All right. So April 9th, 2015. I can't stress this enough that we have to have our video. We have to use our if nothing else, use your phone as a camera and film any type of suspicious activity that may come your way. Now let me tell you why I harp on this, and I'm going to show you a little video here of something that really worked out our way because I took the initiative and videoed this person. When I was working for the town of Bel Air as a detective there, we had a guy that showed up one day, and I'm going to show you a picture of him that he had on a women's nightgown, pink socks, shoes, and a GoPro. Well, he had a camera on top of his helmet that I don't think it worked, but he was also holding an iPhone, and he walked through the City Hall building filming the building. He also walked into the women's bathroom, which I did not hear about later because if I did, I would have charged him right then and there because he was a male going into a female bathroom. And there happened to be a female inside the bathroom. So, and he was videotaping. So there was a whole bunch of things that we could have went with. But I did not realize that. And when somebody questioned him of what he was doing, he was saying, "I'm exercising my First Amendment right of being able to go out and video town halls, public locations, and different things like that." My supervisor came out and said, just let him go. Don't say anything to him. Don't talk to him. And so I just kind of said, okay, fine. Well, I was going to a meeting. I walked out to get into my car, my police car, and I saw him videotaping us coming and going from the precinct. So at that point in time, I took out my cell phone and I started to videotape. And here's the tape. Now you can see the subject at the end of our parking lot. mean, is this for a science project or something? Just ask some questions. I mean, I'm curious. Fingernail polish really doesn't go with the outfit, though. That's about all I need. Okay, I was told it was kind of lagging, and I apologize for that. It's the internet speed. We're doing the best we can on that, but you kind of get the gist. Now, I took this video of this person. Now, guess what happened? This person sent a request for public information. He filed for public information, and because I had taken it while at work, taken it on a city cell phone, we were required to give it to him. But what we told him was that we needed his name, address, and date of birth before we would send it. We would send it to him. Well, I went out and started looking at this guy once we got this information and found out he'd been all over Pinellas County, had been down to courthouse, had been to the jail, all these different places like that doing this videoing. But nobody, I looked at the video he had done. It appeared nobody was videoing him. So they didn't know who he was. They really didn't want to deal with him. But if something later on were to happen, at least we would have a name to go with. So this was very important that we got a picture of him because, like I said, he then filed a Freedom of Information Act wanting to get the copy of my video, which I thought was funny. And then he posted it on YouTube for us. So we were able to go out and see all the other places that he had went and videoed. So it is very important that y'all understand that you need to start taking your cameras out, your phones out, and start videoing these type of situations that you come into. Now, I had a training video that was sent to me from Carl Chin with the Faith-Based Security Network, the organization that Carl runs, and it was on a woman that was walking into churches and doing basically the same thing that this other person was doing. So let's talk about that for a second. So now here is the person. Here's the person that was coming into the churches. She was coming in her hijab, and she was carrying a backpack, and she was also filming people. So this is a picture of her in the Muslim dress. She's a converted. She was a Christian. She's now converted to Islam. But this is how she's approaching the church. So now she walks into the church. Now this is here recently, March 28th, 2021. Now we're going to show you little bits and pieces of this tape, and if it lags, just let me know, and we'll stop it and go on, because you can find this out on YouTube. We'll post this so that you can go see it on YouTube in our letters. So if this lags, let me know. But the safety team guy did it right. I admire him for what he did, but I'm curious as to whether or not they videotaped her or were there cameras. Now, understand something else. If you have cameras inside your church, your sanctuary, your gathering, wherever, that's fantastic. You'll get at least some video. But the thing you have to understand is you will not get the recording or the sound. And there's certain things that she said here that really told me that she wasn't here to worship. So let's listen.
What you have in your backpack?
My stuff.
Your what?
My stuff. Can I help you? Would you like something? Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. Can I help you with something? Would you like to show me to my seat?
No, I just wanted to ask what was in your backpack.
My stuff.
Because could you leave your backpack out here, please?
Where's everybody else's backpacks?
They didn't bring any in.
Well, that's a big ass purse.
That's a purse.
Oh, this is my purse. This is what I carry my stuff in. Would you like to look?
He's just
Okay.
being a safety guard.
I got you. You're a safety monitor. You do this to everybody?
Yes.
You searched everybody today.
No.
Did you search
Only
anyone
backpack.
today?
No, because they didn't have any backpacks.
Okay. That's a big purse. Well, that looks like a backpack over there, sir.
That's not.
Did you search that one?
Which one?
I'm not sure. Is that
That's
a
a
backpack?
purse. No.
Okay, look, I'll show you in my backpack, but then I'm going to go worship, because that's why I'm here.
Okay.
You're preventing me from worshiping.
Okay. Please, right here.
Yeah. Hang tight. This sure is a violation.
Okay. She's very, she's confronting him, doesn't want to, I mean, she is the one that says, do you want to look inside? That is a good thing right there, because I think there might have been some more controversy if he'd have said, I want to look inside. Now, she claimed that it was her purse. And we've had this conversation before. We've talked about it before. Guys don't like carrying diaper bags, but they'll carry an everyday carry bag that has everything inside it. And they can tell you which pouch it is in and the different things like that. But then she kind of confronts him and says, I'm here to worship, hurry up. I want to go worship. So there's a little bit of animosity going on here that kind of makes me think that something wasn't right. But what would you do in this scenario? If he knew that she was videotaping, what would you say to her? This is something that you need to be thinking about, because why she was doing this, I went to this church's website. I looked at them. There's a whole bunch of reasons why she might have been in there. They believe that marriage is between one man and one woman. They believe that homosexuality is a sin. They went and listed a whole bunch of other sins also, but they listed homosexuality. And so these are the type of things that I think that we need to make sure that we're paying attention to, because it's going to happen. Now, we'll continue this on the next slide and watch what she does after he gets finished checking out her backpack. Then she goes inside the church.
Any people of color here?
Yes,
You do. Did you search them too?
they never had a backpack.
Well, I'm gonna look around. I'm gonna make sure nobody has backpacks. Right? I'm gonna make for sure. You are such a kind man. What was your name one more time, Christian?
Burn.
Burn. I'll just call you Christian. It's great to meet you, Christian. Can I go to church now? Christian.
It's about begging. It really is about coming before God with a sincerity, a depth, a need, a crisis moment. You crave this. You desire this passionately. In fact, maybe you can even go far as to say you require it like you do water. It's far different than just saying, hey God, can you give me this? Can we do this? So we have to really kind of change our way of our approach. Matthew Henry, commentator, said yesteryear, said these words. He says, pray. Pray often. Pray with sincerity. Talking about this verse. Talking with sincerity and seriousness. Pray and pray again. Make conscience of prayer. And be consistent in it. Make it a business of prayer. And be earnest in the ask, as the beggar asks for alms. Did I drive that home enough? I hope I have. I hope I have. God can communicate wherever your heart is, wherever your heart need is, absolutely. But I think there's something here that just is deeper and asking a little bit more of us than the simple conversational, relational conversation with God. The second thing, let me move on. Second thing is about seek, the seeking. Because Jesus takes us down, if you will, down to the depths a little bit. You got to ask, of course, but then you got to seek. I mean, there's something about this, and like, your prayer is good, but seek more about your prayer. Seek more.
Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. She has come in the Muslim dress. And I don't know if you caught it. There was another lady that had a hijab on that was in the congregation there. On her post, she talked about how Christians won't get COVID because nobody was wearing a mask. In fact, as she did walk out this door, she started talking about nobody having masks on. So now, of course, we live in Florida. I mean, Governor DeSantis just came out and said that we're not going to have a mandatory mask, but yet other states still require masks or social distancing. So she's probably trying to cause a disruption in your church. I mean, this is a disturbance. So my question goes back to you again. What would you do in this scenario? And I will tell you what we're going to do in our church. What we are going to do is we're going to have a policy that says no videotaping unless you get express permission from the leadership of the church. Now, that's an easy one. That really is, because you can walk up and you can stop anybody from videotaping that starts to make you feel uncomfortable. But you need to have it written down somewhere. Don't go up and challenge somebody and say, we have a rule that says that you cannot videotape here unless you get permission from us, and you don't have that rule written down somewhere. And you need to be careful with this. I mean, you know that there are going to be people in there that are going to be videotaping your church. And trust me, every time we have somebody video our church, we are looking at them. We're trying to figure out who it is. We had a guy a couple of weeks ago that got up in the middle of the service, walked back to the back and started videotaping. Then he asked a question about the pastor and the pastor's wife, and people started to get nervous and they called me in on it. And about that time, one of our safety team members realized that we were watching this person and reached out and contacted us and said, hey, listen, that's my father-in-law. He's visiting from out of state. Well, that would have been nice to kind of let us know before this happened, but we were about to approach him and ask him who he was. We want to know. There are people that are going to come into your church and want to videotape your church because they want to show you your church. They want to show your church. They want people to see your church. So those are things that you want to encourage. But when you have a person that walks in like she did, in her dress, in her clothing, this is one that I think that should have been stopped at the door and said, we do not allow videotaping unless you get permission from the leadership of the church. So until you have permission, you can't videotape. And you need to have it written down somewhere, because if you do and something happens, you're covered. So this is something I think you need to go to your church leaders and you need to talk to them about this, because she came in to disrupt the church service. Because how many people are going to be looking at her and not concentrating on what the pastor is saying up front? That is a disruption of your church service. So these are the type of things I want you to start thinking about. And these are the type of things I want you to go to your leadership and start talking to them about. I know I am, because we've kind of skirted around this a little bit. We have went up to people before and asked them not to videotape. And of course, we talked to them. And when they gave us a good explanation and we said, let me go check with somebody, we might come back and say, hey, you know, the pastor said it was all right. Or they come to me because I'm the representative of the church and they tell me they're from another state and they're just looking at our church and they want to take back some ideas of what we're doing. I go to churches all the time and see their youth ministry, and I want to take video and take it back to our youth ministry because, I mean, it's cool stuff. So these are things that you got to be careful with when you approach somebody on that. But when you have somebody that walks in and you know is going to disrupt your service, this is when you need to start taking some action. And to have that little piece of paper that says no videotaping unless you get permission from the church leaders, I think you got it covered. So any questions?
We do have a question. John Booth asked, do state laws allow an individual to take pictures or video of another person without permission?
That's kind of a gray area, because I do know that that would be one thing that you could point out, that you do not have permission. You know, like nobody in the church wants you to take, especially those that are up on your stage performing. I would say that you would have probably a good argument on that one to say, listen, we don't allow videotaping. And, you know, here's the thing. This is one of the things that you can say. Most churches today are still online. I think it's going to be a while. In fact, I think that churches have found that is something that is very beneficial to their church to be online, because people all over the country can look at your church. So if people want to video the music, tell them, listen, we put it online. You don't need to videotape it. I mean, just be polite. And just say, listen, you do not have express permission to videotape those that are performing on the stage. So I think you would have a good thing to say there. But I'm going to tell you this right now, before you go up and say something to somebody, talk to your leadership in the church. See what their opinion is on it, because they may feel completely different. Easter, we had people filming all over the place. Most of them were members that we knew. Most of them were just filming it because it was really good. The music was really great. It was a fantastic, worship. Creative Arts did an incredible job. We had a lot of people coming back in to watch it the second time to videotape it because they had kind of watched it live the first time, but they wanted to make sure. So I like I said, I would check with my leadership first. You may be able to contact an attorney. I don't know if there's any law. I know, I will tell you this though, the law will not let you auto record anybody. Now I do know that, but for some strange reason, we allow videotaping. I don't know. It kind of caught me by surprise. Audio taping you cannot do. You cannot, record somebody's audio. And like I said, I saw a police chief get fired over that here in the state of Florida. So, and they go after husbands and wives because they do it all the time on each other. And their attorneys are like, well, we'll take you to court. So I do know that you cannot audio, but video is a completely different animal.
I can jump in really quick because I was just doing some Googling, and from what I saw, it is illegal to videotape where somebody expects privacy, but everywhere else, like Dad was saying, you can video, you just can't audio record, but I'm not sure what the distinction there is. So that's a really tricky kind of gray area.
What they're looking at on that is that the person doesn't know that they're being recorded by audio. It's probably an outdated law that needs to be relooked at, but I do know that it is still out there on the books. Anybody else?
No questions from anybody else.
All right. Okay. Church safety training that we're doing this week, 5811 Scott Lake Road. I'm going to tell you, this is going to be some good stuff because we're doing something we've never done before. Scott Lake Baptist Church is known for their what if scenarios. They sent me over a situation of where a guy came and kind of did some discipline on a kid inside the school. Apparently he was one of the relatives of some sort. And the what if question was, what if one of our safety team members saw this guy hit the kid and they went up and started talking to him and he raised his cane because he had a cane with him and hit the, safety team member. I just had to laugh, but you never know. It could happen. So because there's such a what if church, which I love, they're thinking all the time, this is really good. We're going to be doing what if scenarios at our training. If the doors open at 8:30, the event starts at 9 o'clock. It's going to be jam packed. We're going to go 9 to 12 full. I mean, we'll take a little bit of a break, but we're going to go we're going to put as much as we can on what ifs. We have a lot of what ifs because every time you think you've seen every what if, there's always another one that rises up. So come on out this weekend, Saturday, April 10th. Doors open at 8:30 and we start at 9 o'clock. All right. Church Safety Network group meetings. We're going to go Tuesday, April 20th, 7 o'clock p.m. to 8:30 p.m., Pasco County, Generations Christian Church, 1540 Little Road. All of these are on our website. Go underneath the events. You can see it. Thursday, April 22nd, 7 o'clock to 8:30. We're going to be in Pinellas County at Live Oak Baptist Church, 6900 Co Road, 95, Palm Harbor. And then Thursday, April 29th at 7 o'clock p.m. to 8:30 p.m., we'll be in Hillsborough County at Radiant Church, 3938 South Del Mabry. We are going to be talking about bomb threats. We are going to be talking about bombs. What you should do, being that you're on live, if you happen to have a bomb threat come across your screen. So we have the members only Thursday, April the 15th. That will be a live Zoom meeting. It will not be a webinar. We'll get to see each other. I'm hoping that everybody that is out here tonight will come on out again, and we'll talk about some of the things that might be happening at your church or happening around our church that we want to talk about. So I'm looking forward to seeing y'all on April the 15th. USCCA, I am going to try to have somebody the next time we have the webinar. I have to check my calendar. Look at it real quick for me, Jess. I just said the date. So I think that we're going to be at a Church Safety Network next Thursday. And then No, next week is the Zoom meeting. So, but we're going to have them come out and tell us what they are now doing because there's a lot of changes that are going on. The book is out, folks. The hardcovers are gone. So if you want a paperback of the copy of God's Unseen Plan for a $25 donation, go to Trinity Security Allies, click on the little book donation button that you see right there, click on it, and you can order your book today. And I'll even sign it for you. We still have free resources out there. If you find out a church that is looking to start a safety team, tell them to come over to our Trinity Security Allies free resources, and yet they can get developing a safety team, putting together one, carrying weapons in a church, and Sunday morning what to look for. We have our online membership. Just for $25 a month, you can access our training library. You'll get to see this. You'll get to see all of our other stuff that we put out there. And plus it gives you a ticket to our annual Church and Safety and Liability Conference. We're starting right now looking at different speakers that we're going to have for this. We're really excited because we always seem to be able to get really good speakers for our conference. And then, of course, if you want to do a membership with your church, this includes a 2-hour training or a full day of training sessions, scheduled phone consultations on safety concerns, free tickets to the annual Church Safety and Liability Conference, discounted full strength and weakness assessment recommendations detailing priorities in your house of worship. And the safety team has full access to online library and monthly member calls. If your church cannot afford to afford a membership, consider a local business owner to sponsor your church through our Centurion Club. We do have a few of those. Visit TrinitySecurityAllies.com or contact Wendy. Interesting thing going on. We had this podcast that we do on Thursday called True Christian Talk, and it is on Facebook. And we've kind of had to go and circumvent. Facebook has blocked us as far as going live, but we can post the video. In fact, we post one of the last videos that we've done. We got one more to put out there, but it is some interesting conversation where we talk about some of the things that are happening in our world today that we're seeing and we're watching, and your church needs to be ready for it because there's just a lot of people out here that do not like Christians. And it is kind of some stuff that is really concerning to us. So we talk about it, and we talk about how a Christian should be looking at the world and how the Christian should be responding. But it also does really affect your safety teams because the things that we're talking about are things that could eventually end up inside your houses of worship. Are there any questions?
No more questions that I'm seeing.
All right. Well, I won't keep you that much longer. I really appreciate you coming out. It is always an honor to be out here working with you. I pray that you stay safe. I pray that you keep watching the flock. You keep the faith. If there's anything I can do for you, please reach out and call us. I want you to be safe and be blessed, and good night.